taking refuge is kind of an initial commitment to the Dharma in general, also to some degree to Pemako Buddhist path and teachings. And it's a very significant step. The thing with all kinds of ceremonies is that there's a very large impact on our subconscious mind. So, of course, they are spiritually very, very powerful, very charged moments and very meaningful moments because of that. And they impress the subconscious mind. And also, like when we take bodhisattva vows, you know, which basically means that we take a vow to attain Buddhahood as soon as possible for the sake of all sentient beings, putting an end to our samsaric condition for good. That's basically what bodhisattva vows are. So taking a vow, as you know, taking a vow, you know, can you say in English that you swear something? You swear that you do this. It convinces the subconscious mind in a very, very strong way, and it's very, very beneficial. As you know, this bodhisattva thing, bodhicitta thing, compassion is really the main generator of the whole Mahayana Buddhist way of training. So taking that kind of compassion where you actually vow, you swear that you will attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings, it's a very, very powerful thing. And what it does, in my own experience, is that, you know, when we haven't yet found that way so clearly, it's sort of like we drift a little bit, even though more or less consciously or subconsciously, we want to find the truth. We want to know ourselves. We want to understand the reality of ourselves and things. Nevertheless, we might kind of drift. And you see this drifting in a lot of spiritual seekers. And I'm not talking about finding the best teacher or the teaching to follow for oneself, but I'm talking about you know, really digging in with the practice, and I'm talking about the path opening in that sense. So bodhisattva vow, when we take that vow seriously and we renew it in our daily practice, it removes this drifting. It makes it completely straight way, completely straight path. And this is how I've experienced it anyway, so that it removes all unnecessary takes and turns and winding to left and right. It just opens up directly. So yeah, we have the refuge ceremony in our style of practice, sort of like an initial step on one's path. And then we have the lay ordination. We are not monastics, but lay people, lay practitioners. So we have ordination for lay people. And what this ordination means is that it's like a more serious commitment. You're already committed to the 3 jewels, have taken refuge in 5 jewels when you take refuge in refuge ceremony. But you know, it becomes much more personal, much more serious with taking ordination, because you actually become somebody who is like a, I wouldn't want to say this in too rigid way, but then you kind of become like a serious practitioner and serious student. You become somebody who who has a role, important role in the Sangha as a committed practitioner. You become somebody who, you know, is inwardly certain that this particular path is my path, and this is the path that I will follow. These are the practices I will practice, and this is the teacher who I will listen to. So yeah, and what I was saying is that, like, when you become an ordained practitioner, like a tantric practitioner, ordained tantric, wearing a shawl, if not in, you know, it can be used in the Asian countries. They use these shawls all the time, whether you practice or not. When you go to the supermarket, you're wearing it. And they might have some other external marks like earrings or hair done in some way. Usually Tibetan tantrics, they let their hair grow, so they have it, how do you say, on a top knot on the head, and maybe some other external marks like this. But anyway, they wear those marks at all times. We don't have to do that in Pemako Buddhism. You know, you can, ordained practitioners can choose when they use the robes or not, whether they choose to use them apart from dharmic activities in everyday life. I personally like to use, well, this shawl is a bit difficult to wear. Like we are still in the process of trying to figure it out with Carl how to use it in everyday activities. But if I'm not using a shawl, I'm using like a rakusu, like a Japanese style Buddhist robe or vest. But nevertheless, you know, at least our ordained members wear these shawls on retreats and events, whether online or in person. And also traditionally, and that's the way I see it as well, is that, you know, it's those students who, those practitioners, those members of the Sangha who have made that commitment to Pemako path particularly, are those who will in their time become teachers, to whom the so-called Dharma will be transmitted, and who then can teach and share it with others. So the reason I'm saying this is because I'm watching you, and I've known most of you for a few years already. And I think that I felt like saying this because I think that some of you, it might be something, this ordination, what you can think. And it's kind of a current topic. We actually haven't had an ordination ceremony yet, but you know, all people who wear robes, I've blessed their robes and then presented the robe to them for them to wear when they practice. But I already was thinking about it actually last year on summer retreat, that we would have ordination ceremony there. I think we had Refuge ceremony last year on summer retreat. So that can also be arranged on summer retreat. Why not on this retreat if there are more than 3 people taking Refuge? But maybe we will have the first ordination ceremony this summer retreat that hopefully will take place in, is it in UK or Ireland? Which one?
It's in Ireland.
Ireland, yeah. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about ordination. Let's continue to tantric practice.